Alhamdulillah wahda, wassalatu wassalamu ala man la nabiyya ba'd. So Arbaeen of Nawawi, Imam Nawawi's Arbaeen 40 hadith. This is next hadith. نحمده ونسلم على رسول الكريم أما بعد. فعن أم المؤمنين أم عبد الله عائشة رضي الله عنها قالت قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من أحدث في أمرنا هذا ما ليس منه فهو رد متفق عليه. Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu anha narrates that whoever introduces something into this affair of us that does not belong to it, it is to be rejected. Hadith mentioned by Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim both, and many others. So who is Aisha? The mother of faith, mother of believers, al-Mu'mineen. Her kunya is Abdullah. Abdullah, because this was the tradition. The people would have a kunya. Kunya is agnomen, to have a nickname, which is through your children, through your special attribute in the society that you're known to it. So normally, firstborn. Aisha radiallahu anha didn't have any children. She then asked, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, everyone got their kunya and I haven't got any, and I haven't got any children. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Al-Khalatu kamanzilatil or kama qal. Khala, the maternal aunt, is like mother. So you are maternal aunt to Abdullah bin Zubayr, radiallahu ta'ala an, Zubayr bin Awwam's son, and your sister Asma, half sister, Asma bint Abi Bakr, radiallahu ta'ala anha. So she's your sister, and her son, Abdullah ibn Zubayr, Abdullah, is for you like a son. So call yourself Abdullah, Abdullah's mother. So you are Abdullah's mother. Mother means Khala here. So you are Abdullah's mother. So she started having this as kunya. She's the daughter of Abu Bakr Siddiq. She was born 9 years before Hijrah, so she was about 9 years. Most beloved wife of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that she's like fareed, like the special food among all the food. Everyone else is like normal food, and she's fareed. She's the best of the food. Like she's the best of the ladies. One of the greatest of the narrators, she is from Mukthirin. She narrated more than 2,000 hadith actually. And she was very knowledgeable in Arabic language, history, literature, and also in lineage and math. That was her main areas of expertise. She married to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the second year of Hijrah. So when Sayyidina Usman radiallahu anhu was martyred, she had to then lead a campaign calling for the justice against the murder of the just ruler, Sayyidina Uthman, the Khalifa. And this then ended up having a battle of Jamal, battle of Harb Jamal against Sayyidina Ali was on the other side of this. That's a historical event that happened, and then there was a bit of hoo-ha about this, and it was big loss on both sides. Anyway, so Ali radiallahu anhu was successful, and then it got sorted out again between him and Mother Aisha. Now, we say that Aisha, there is this issue that people would raise as she was very young. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam married Sayyidah Khadija when he was 25. And Khadija at that point was 40-year-old, 15 years older than him. and he had 6 children through her. They lived happily for 25 years till Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam became 50 and Khadija 65, and she passed away. Now Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had these small girls, 4 of them. Boys died, 2 of them. Out of 7, 6 were born through Sayyidah Khadija, Abdullah and Qasim. Abdullah's title, other titles are Tayyib and Tahir. Those 2, and the final son was Ibrahim through Maria Qibtiyya in Medina. So out of 7 children, this is what happened. Now 4 young girls, who would look after them? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam needed to marry someone, as people advised him. So he started thinking about that. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to him that you need to make nikah, you need to do nikah with Sayyidah Aisha. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam realized, it was shown, the picture of Aisha was shown in the dream, as a true dream. Sayyidina Jibreel had wrapped up gift, and so this is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made this your wife in dunya and akhirah and in Jannah. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam opened it, it was Aisha, and he was like, subhanallah, this young girl I've been seeing since young childhood. Her childhood she's been born in front of me, like within the time that I'm here. And Abu Bakr is my friend, one of the best friends. So she's to me like a niece. How could I marry her? And Allah said, this is how Allah wanted it to. And then he just waited. Now the women in the society were suggesting Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to marry someone who could look after the children. But Aisha herself is a child, really, 6 years old. Was very intelligent, still a child though. She was not puberted at that point, and it was normal for people to do that. Time went on. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam migrated, that's when the people, especially the women of the society, suggested, oh, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, your young girls need someone to get help from. Get someone who could help your children, raise them in a nice way. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam then married Sauda bint Zam'a, another lady who was very old and also widowed twice, like Khadija. She was widowed twice as well. And same here. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had another elderly woman to look after the children, which is what was needed at the time. So Aisha came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's house 3 years after the nikah. So she was about 9. And then Aisha was with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam for another 10 years or so. And then she was called the mother of believers, like all the other Ummahatul Mu'mineen. So 11 of them, 9 at the same time, one after the other, and they were all there to have pacts and some benefit from, some support. So the Aisha learned from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam amazing amount of knowledge. And that was the whole idea. So she could learn, she could free herself, as she could never marry after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away. She would continue to teach the companions, like her children, for the next 45 years or so. And that was the reason why I say that Aisha had to marry Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, someone intelligent, someone never been exposed to kufr or shirk. Started off within Islamic environment, from the family, from house, from society. And then she was very intelligent and pious. She mastered the knowledge, because whatever Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had to share with the ummah, he could say a lot of things about the women issue, but there has to be a women teacher for people for afterwards and also during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to answer some of the questions which are very much like in a matter of modesty. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam nurtured his wives, all of them, to be able to cope with that demand of the time. And they all did a fantastic job. Obviously, some of them passed away earlier, some stayed for a bit longer. Aisha was specifically brought to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's nikah in his house for that purpose. So 45 years, she would continue to teach and advise people in all the matters of Sharia, wherever there's a need. So this is Aisha. So there's no blame. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it was known in the society, so no one said anything against Rasulullah. They would find all the lame excuses, but they never did on this occasion because they knew this is fine. And the women do get, at times, there's certain women who get reverted when they're 9. And that's exactly what happened to her. So that's why she came. She was adult. She was not baby. Obviously, age-wise, she was. In the modern time, obviously, it wouldn't be practical these days. But traditionally, it was not at all a problem. Anyway, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if he wanted, he was offered all the most beautiful girls from Meccans to stay quiet and not rebuke their, idols, not censure them, and he wouldn't take that. When he was 25, when he actually wanted to, young man would want to marry, he married someone who's 15 years older. So how come when he's like about 53-year-old, he decided to have a young girl? Obviously not. This was not at all for any personal reasons. It was mainly to do with someone who could lead my mission even after I leave the world. And this is what she did. To her and Salama, a few others, Hafsa, they managed fantastically to teach and impart the knowledge that they learned from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has done almost all her nikahs afterwards, 9 of them, subsequently, in order to, as Islam continues to spread, he would just continue to marry. And he would marry to the tribes where there was a lot of animosity. And it was known in those days that if you have someone as your son-in-law or father-in-law or daughter-in-law in a certain tribe, that becomes your tribe. The whole tribe becomes your family. And you do not raise your swords against your family. And that was the strategy Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam adopted. So he wouldn't go and do anything which is not going to benefit the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So obviously people can find all the faults, they can find in the Quran, they find in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's personality. That's their sick minds and sick ideas. So don't stoop backwards and don't bend over backwards to please them. Because those who do not want to understand that, they're not going to understand. Anyway, so Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam married Sayyidah Aisha, and you know what? As a medical doctor, I can tell you, if it was to be who is the best and easily becoming mother for the ladies who are young, very young, because they haven't got their cartilages built up so strong, they would not have much pain, much issues during the labor. So they become very nice mothers. This is what my gynecology and obstetrician consultant professor said in our lecture, in the lecture that she delivered on this. The younger the better with regards to being mother. Older, obviously they've got all the calcification of the joints and very difficult to stretch them out for the babies to come out smoothly. It's easier pregnancy and delivery. Anyway, so the hadith took, yes, but before that, there was one important incident that took place, and there were many, but one specific one is Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu anha. She was slandered by the hypocrites. And there are many hypocrites who still slander her for different reasons, but they're all crazy. They will find out on the day of judgment. They'll be quite repentant at that point and regretful, but that will be too late. So they charged Sayyidah Aisha and they slandered her, associating her with a Sahabi called Safwan ibn Mu'attal, radiallahu ta'ala. In this battle of Muraisi or Bani Mustariq, 2 names, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had him look at the stuff people left behind after we move on. So they started packing up once the battle was over. It didn't take place anyway, but so once they were planning to leave, they would have started packing up their stuff, the tents, and loading it, and they started leaving. So once everyone left, Safwan bin Mu'attal's job was to go and find out if there was anything left behind by people, wipe it all, get it all gathered, and bring it back. So the Aisha radiallahu anha, she borrowed a necklace made of cords from her sister Asma radiallahu anha. And she went out to go to toilet at night, just before Fajr. And that was the Fajr time for the day that they were planning to leave back to Medina. And she could not find her necklace which she borrowed. As a trustworthy person, she was like, let me just check. I went to toilet last night, might have dropped it there. Let me just go and search it in that area. She went out and then in the dark started looking for that. And she was so slim and young that her weight would not be noticed. It was not noticeable whether she was in that palanquin or not. So the people would come, 4 of them, lifted the palanquin, put on the camels, and they were ready to launch, to just leave. They did not notice the Sayyidah Aisha is not in that howdaj because she was very light. Anyway, when she returned back, she saw the people have already started their journey. They've gone out of the site and she couldn't find them. So she just stayed there, knowing that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would notice that I'm not there in the next, stop, and he would send someone back to pick me. And it was early hours of the morning, so she just lied down. She was not scared at all. She trusted Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and she didn't on the ground that she just lied and then slept. She was so comfortable with Allah's will without having any agitation and stress. She didn't panic at all. And that's the true faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah would make it work. Allah is there to help me. Safwan bin Mu'attal started checking for all the lost properties or stuff people left behind, picking those up and coming back. And as he saw a man or woman, a human being somewhere from distance, he was like, oh my goodness, let's see who is this. When he came close, he could see the face of Sayyidah Aisha. All he said was, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. The term used for this is istirja'. He did the istirja'. And subhanallah, Sayyidah Aisha heard it and she covered her face immediately. And she says that because Safwan bin Mu'attal saw me before the command of covering the face, using the face veil, was revealed. So before that, she saw me, that's why he saw me, that's why he could recognize me. And then he brought the camel. I sat on the camel and he started going towards Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stationed at the next stop. And he was waiting for Safwan to come back and meet him so that they can all make their way. When they found out a man, which is Safwan, and a young girl on top of the camel, the hypocrites within the team, they started saying things. Oh, a young man and a young woman all by themselves for a few hours, don't know what they have done, all those sort of rubbish ideas in their mind, the corrupted and dirty minds started talking about haram stuff and wrong stuff. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't like it, obviously. It's haram to talk about people, slander them, let alone the wife of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Anyway, these people had no shame and they just said it. And they were hypocrite anyway. They would not miss any opportunity to tarnish the name of Islam. Anyway, they did it. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was quite upset with this, but he didn't have a proof either way. So what do we do? It took a month before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down the revelation. This story is mentioned in the Quran. Inshallah, when we go through Surah Nur, we'll clarify that. It's an important story to read. The words of Sayyidah Aisha herself, radiyallahu ta'ala anha. And she was like, I never expected Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would save me from this trouble. I knew that Allah would save me, but not by revealing Quranic ayat. The whole ummah would read until the end of time. You remember when people slandered Maryam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let the baby in her lap speak up to clear her from the blame. When they slandered Yusuf alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala suggested that man, the young boy from the family too, come up with a plan. When it came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's wife, Allah did not let anyone else interfere. Rather, He Himself revealed the words, about 20 ayat, to clarify this issue. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, gave the testimony of the chastity and purity and piousness of Sayyidah Aisha radhiyallahu ta'ala. Subhanallah. The slander, she was slandered, and she had a month where she was completely sick and unwell. She had some illness, but a viral or type seasonal fever or infection of some sort, but she never knew that this is going on in the building. Allah. So this is how people have to learn to be tolerant. The society was on hold for a whole 1 month, and it was the test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to clarify who is who. And then the hypocrites, obviously, they came up with excuses, so they were left so that they get the punishment in the life hereafter. 3 pious Muslims got involved as well. Mistah bin Usasa, Hassan ibn Sabit, and Hamna bint Jahash, the sister of Zainab bint Jahash, the co-wife of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Hamna was the sister of the co-wife, which is Zainab. Now, they were lashed because to slander someone, there's a punishment in Islam. If you cannot prove it with 4 eyewitnesses, if you slander someone of fornication or adultery, you have to prove it with 4 eyewitnesses who have actually seen the act, not just some possibilities. We saw it like this, they were naked, they were on top of each other. No, none of that would go. Has to be 4 men looking at that specific action, and then they can prove it as a testimony. 3, not enough. 2, not enough. No DNA, nothing. If you can't prove any of that, you will be given 80 lashes, and they got 80 lashes each. The munafiqun, the hypocrite, they came up with the excuse, so they were left so that they get their punishment in full in the life hereafter. So this is Sayyidah Aisha. Finally, when she was in her SubhanAllah, later days, someone started saying about Hassan ibn Thabit, who was a poet of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Someone said, using bad words in front of Sayyidah Aisha, saying, oh, he's the one who actually slandered you. He was part of those people who were like hypocrites. Sayyidah Aisha got very upset. How dare you say that? He was one of the pious Badri Sahabi. You're charging him. You can't do that. He did it by mistake and he was punished for that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam forgave him. Don't you ever say that. The man said, I was only saying it to please you. Astaghfirullah. I don't get pleased by those rubbish stuff. Don't ever do that. So he was reprimanded by Sayyidah Aisha. So if it was us, you feel like happy, oh, someone is supportive of my stance on my side. Na'udhu-billah. No, they were so pure, they would never ever cause any trouble to anyone. They were not after dunya. This is why Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, when she was on her deathbed, Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhuma, he wanted to come and speak to the mother. And she was also sister-in-law, the Bhabi of Rasulullah, of Abdullah ibn Abbas, because Abdullah ibn Abbas was first cousin of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Uncle Abbas. And he was also brother-in-law of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam from his wife Maymuna, who was Mamu, which is maternal uncle. So there were quite a few relations. Anyway, Abdullah ibn Abbas, he's senior Sahabi as well now, when Sayyidah Aisha is about to die. He came to pay a visit to mother. Sayyidah Aisha knew that he's going to say something to please me. He will say something to testify. And people normally say good words just to buck you up, keep you happy. So Aisha was concerned that this is my last moments in this world, possibly. I may die anytime. I'm very weak and frail. If he says something that might make my nafs, myself, a bit big, I may become haughty and arrogant. I may start feeling that I'm good. I do not want that. In the last days, I would rather repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and stay connected. So she said, I don't want to see, please ask her to excuse me. The uncle Abbas and his son Abdullah ibn Abbas were very close to the family. So Abdullah ibn Zubayr, he is the nephew, he came, oh mother, you can't say no to Abdullah ibn Abbas. He is one of the greatest of the Sahabi. So closely related to you, just like a very, very close member of the family. You can't ask him to leave without seeing you. Please do not put us in this trouble. She said, okay. And he came in. And again, he said all the right things. As you ask someone who is in the last day, how you find yourself. So she said, بِخَيْرٍ إِنِ اتَّقَيْتُ. I'm fine if I stay pious, if I stay following the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if I stay muttaqiyya, if I stay with taqwa, because you're going to please me, you're trying to please me by saying something positive about me, that is not going to help. Please don't do that. And these are the people who would always be concerned about their life hereafter. So may Allah give us tawfiq to love them and stay in their company in Jannah, inshallah ta'ala. Bless us with that. We talk about the hadith detail next time. It's going to be a little bit detailed discussion on bid'ah innovation, because that's the hadith title and one of the very important hadith. Inshallah, we'll talk about that next week. Assalamu alaikum.